All right, what's up, guys? Coming at you from a different place right now. Obviously, I'm in my car. I'm just about to head to the gym. And I wanted to record a short video talking about something that's very important. That's something that has really been impactful for me just in my own life, and giving me the tools and the resources to be able to achieve some of the goals I've achieved. I would say it has contributed to all of them, if I'm to be very honest with you. And it's this concept of your mindset determines your success in life. And, a lot of people talk about mindset. They tell you, like, oh, mindset is everything. Like, as long as you conquer your mindset, and as long as everything in between your ears is where it needs to be, then everything in your life will reflect that. And I think a lot of us hear that advice, or that information, and we see it as like, oh, like, like, that's so basic, that's so rudimentary. Like, why is that something I need to focus on? But what you have to understand is that the way you see the world and the way you approach life is a reflection. It's not so the way I want you to think about this is that the world is not as it is, the world is as we are. And this is like such a basic concept that a lot of people, they don't even think about this. They walk about life, and this is probably you go about life, you go about your situation, you go about whatever you have going on, and you react to the things happening, and you're not consciously seeing how your perspective and how your inner self-image is basically something that's being projected onto the world, and it's just a reflection that's coming back to you. Now, what does this look like practically? Let's talk about fitness, because that's what I like to talk about. That's what I do for a living. When we look at fit people, and we look at people who have their health in shape, and we look at someone who's put in the time to build a lean physique and put on muscle and all these different things that we associate with someone who has a good physique, there's two basic approaches, or two basic reactions to that kind of person. The first reaction is, someone who has a positive mindset, and they value hard work. They value, they understand the concept that if someone puts in a certain amount of work, you get a certain kind of result. So, they would look at someone who's like clearly jacked, clearly muscular, and they'll be like, okay, respect. I totally get why he has a result, because he put the work in. It's as simple as that. He put the work in. He did what he had to do. He did the hard work when no one was looking. He had long nights and just like unrecognized effort. And now finally, 4, 5, 6, 10 years later, it's finally paying off. Of course he's going to have that physique. Of course he's going to look the way he looks. That's one perspective. The other perspective is of someone who doesn't like, and keep in mind, both of these people, they could be in the same exact physical shape. They could both be overweight. They could both be like 20, 30 pounds overweight. They've never really seriously taken the gym, the way it should be. And they just they're in the same physical shape. You could even think of them as like two twins. One of them having this positive mindset, and the other one having this like negative and self-deprecating kind of self-image, where they see everyone else as having achieved a certain outcome as like, oh, they cheated. Of course he's taking gear. Of course he's taking performance enhancing drugs. Of course, why, like, they can't wrap their minds around the fact that someone can put in hard work and get a certain result. And they see people like this, and they're like, oh, of course it's because of the XYZ reason. It's because he has like all the time in the world, so of course he is able to get in shape, not knowing that person works like 2 jobs and has like 3 kids or something. Or they're like, oh, of course he has better genetics, so of course that's why he's in shape. Not realizing that your lifestyle and the choices you make and the food you eat, that affects your genetics. Like, there's this concept of epigenetics, which a lot of people who are sort of like, they have this like reaction, this almost visceral reaction to people who are in shape. They totally don't even recognize that epigenetics plays a huge part in how you look and how you operate. To explain it very simply before I get back to the main point, epigenetics is this idea that anything that you consume, your environment, the chemicals around you, all this kind of stuff, it does have an effect on your genetic makeup. So if you were to do all the right things, and you were to get yourself in shape, lose body fat, all this kind of stuff, and not expose yourself to dangerous chemicals, that could have an effect on your genetic makeup, and that could even transfer to your kids. So quite literally, you can improve your genetics by going to the gym. That's something that a lot of people, they just don't even think about. They're like, genetics, he has better genetics, so like, of course, all this crap that people talk about. Or they say like, oh, of course, he has the money, so of course he can afford the gym, he can afford good groceries, he can afford all these supplements. So of course, it's because of like, he's part of the 1%, of course he's in shape. It's like all this like victim mentality. It's really what it is. It's having this victim mentality to seeing, there's so many, it's crazy what goes on subconsciously when we see someone who's in shape. It and the reaction that comes about it is so indicative of who you are and what your mindset is. We don't even realize this. Now, if I were to ask you the question, who is more likely to get in shape? Who is more likely, regardless of how much they know, like what resources they have or how they go about life, who is more likely to get in shape? Clearly, it's the person who has a positive mindset, who can appreciate the things that they value in this person that they've seen. And of course, that's the reason why he's going to get in shape, and the other person's not. Or the other person who has a negative mindset is going to struggle for years and years and years, and just like put themselves in a position where they just keep coming against this wall, where just like, I try to get in shape, I can't get over this barrier, I can't get over this hurdle. And it's because they have this mental block, which if they overcame and they were like, okay, I appreciate the effort that people have put in, I know what it actually takes, now I'm ready for the lesson. There's this saying where the lesson presents itself when the teacher presents themselves when the student is ready. And it's such a true concept, because unless you truly put yourself in a position and you humble yourself and you drop your ego and you're like, okay, what do I need to learn? What am I coming up against that's like causing these results in my life, and something, the things I'm not understanding, why, what's the missing piece here? And it's only when you appreciate that, it's only when you humble yourself that you're like, okay, I'm ready to do the work now. I'm ready to do the things that are required for me to get the certain outcome I'm looking for. And this applies to everything. This applies to your health, your wealth, your relationships. It applies to every single thing that you are struggling in. It's like, okay, what's the missing piece here? And how am I approaching this? What's my mindset? That's literally the missing piece for a lot of you guys. And I'm not even talking to like a group of you. I'm talking to you, man. I'm talking to you who's been in this position for way too long. It's been months, years that you've been trying to get this certain outcome. You're just like, I cannot crack this piece. I know the roadmap. I have all the information. Like, let's use a fitness example again. You have all the YouTube videos at your disposal. You have every single article on bodybuilding.com and all these different websites. And you're still like, I'm not in shape. I'm still 30 pounds overweight. I still cannot hold myself back from like eating dessert when I shouldn't. Or I cannot say no when I go over to someone's house and they offer me something which is clearly going to be over my caloric limit for the day. It's because your mindset, your the way you're approaching life is totally just off. And I can't say what that is for sure, what exact piece of your mindset is off, but I would highly recommend, and I'm saying this with love, that you look at yourself and you ask yourself, where am I being a bitch about this? And I say that very like with love. Where am I, like, if I were to look at myself from a third person perspective, where am I being a bitch about this? Why am I not getting the results I want? What's going on? What's causing these roadblocks in my life? And once you start unpacking that, once you start looking at your life, you're just like, okay, clearly I have this misconception about like what it takes to get in shape. Or I see, like we discussed before, all these different examples of people who, when you look at them, you're like, oh, of course it's because of this. And you don't sit back and reflect that maybe it's like how you're looking at this. Like I said in the very beginning, the world, our circumstances, everything is a reflection. And once you come to that realization, once you understand that that is how you see reality is how reality actually is. And for all my Muslims who are like, oh, what's he talking about? Like, how does this tell? What does Islam have to say about this? There's a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam where it's a hadith Quds. Yes, it's a hadith Qudsi, where, if anyone isn't aware, where it's Allah speaking, but it's the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's narrating. It's his words. He's conveying it, but it's Allah like speaking in the first person. Where I don't know the exact Arabic, but the meaning is, I am as my servant sees me or perceives of me. And it's such a simple statement. It's such a simple thing that, it's easy to glance over. It's like, okay, that's a very simple thing. Of course, that makes intuitive sense. If I perceive Allah, God, as being merciful and kind and putting opportunities in my way, then obviously that's how it's going to be. Or if you see Allah as someone who is not favoring you, who is not merciful to you for some reason, I shouldn't even say that, but some people have this mindset of like, oh, he's unjust towards me because of XYZ, whatever reason. Then that's how your life is going to turn out. So even in Islam, there's this concept of how you see the divine, how you see Allah is how your life is going to turn out. Because Allah, he's the one in control of everything. The universe, everything, our reality is all dictated by his will. And the way we perceive him, like he told us himself through the Prophet ﷺ that he is as we perceive him to be. So, guys, look at your life. Look at where you are stumbling. Look at where things are not working out for you, and truly, try to understand where you're falling short. What's your mindset around these things? Why are you not doing the things that you need to be doing? Why are you falling short? And I guarantee you, it's not because you don't have the information. It's not because you don't know what you need to do. Gun to that. Everyone knows what they need to do on a daily basis. Like, there's no question about that. One thing, 3 things, 5 things, whatever it is, like everyone knows what they need to be doing. But it's really just like, how am I approaching this? What's my mindset around this? So guys, I hope this was helpful. I hope this gave you some insight. It gave you some motivation. And really just if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If there's something that's truly been bogging you down, let me know. Perhaps I can help. Perhaps I can give some advice, something that could really help you. Because the whole point of this channel and of me being on YouTube is not, it's not to be like a fake guru YouTuber or whatever. It's to give the advice that I wish I had, and honestly, the advice I still need. There's never going to be a point where I don't need this advice. Like, there's always going to be something I'm struggling against, and it's like, okay, how am I approaching this? So guys, take this to heart and really, really, truly understand. And if you know of someone, a friend who's been struggling with this, share this video with them. Hopefully it can help for them. I'm gonna end it here. I need to get to the gym before it gets too late. Love you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.